What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Tacos, Turbos, and Toothpicks. And for those of you that are new here, welcome to our home, our humble abode, our little campsite, our little home away from home, home that is home, home on wheels, whatever you want to call it. We are now a couple months living into the RV lifestyle with our beautiful Keystone Avalanche 312 RS. As you can see, got the mega cab tow vehicle. And here's some things that we've been purchasing over the last couple of months, weeks, whatever. A little bit of product review for you guys, so you guys can see if it's worth it for you or you'd rather pass on it. I mean, it's up to you. It's however you want to live your life, man. I'm not going to tell you what to do or what not to do. I'm just going to tell you what we've been doing. Go over one of our more recent things that we've gotten since we've gotten the RV life, and I highly recommend this. I think you guys, anybody with an RV or home, should definitely get one of these. This is 100% guaranteed recommend from us at Triple T right here. Bubby, say hello. If you guys haven't met him yet, this is Bubby, our newly adopted pit bull mix. We don't really know what all he's mixed with, but we would love to find out someday. But I highly recommend, if you guys can't get a Bubby, just, go adopt a little friend to hang out with. But he has been an awesome addition to our family, our travel adventures, and keeps me company while Jasmine's at work. So highly recommend. Don't you think, Bubs? No? Okay. All right, now let's get to the actual products. So, full disclosure, for those of you who know, we purchased this back the end of July, but we didn't actually start camping and living in it until August. It is now the end of October, so we don't have a bunch of time in this thing, but I just wanted to go over a few things that we purchased before we bought the camper, when we bought the camper, and after we bought the camper, that have either helped us, hurt us, or it doesn't really make sense to have. Again, with the mud diver screen over here on the event system, again, I'm guessing it works. Haven't had anything in there, and it seems to cover it up nicely, so it seems like a solid purchase. I'm gonna move right here, since it's right here alongside the camper. This is our, can you guess it? This is our dryer vent. We did get a washer and dryer installed in the camper, and we will go inside to check those out. One thing I would say that I'm really not a fan of is this right there. You can kind of hear it. That if you get a little wind coming from this side or anything like that, yeah, that can be kind of frustrating. Luckily, the wind kind of dies down at nighttime, so it's not going on the entire time while you are trying to sleep. So it's kind of hit or miss, but that is one thing I'm kind of like, that's a pain in the butt. But it is what it is. All right, guys, so we have now moved to the interior of our Avalanche here, and I just basically want to show you guys the washer and dryer system that we started with outside. So that's where the vent goes out. That's what you guys saw on the outside of the camper, obviously, for the dryer vent. You guys know how this stuff works. It's just like your typical home stacked washer and dryer machine. This is like the biggest system I think you can get for an RV. We kind of went back and forth on it. It is a little pricey. I watched a bunch of videos that say like, hey, for my situation, like, it's not really big enough for my family. I'm doing laundry all day. It fills up your gray tank and blah, 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 and stuff like that, which I completely understand. You hear the tapping. It is something that I told Jasmine about and asked her if she wanted to save some money and maybe not go that route, because everybody said between going to friends' houses or laundromats or the campground having a laundromat that you would never actually really need a washer and dryer. And I will have to say, now that we've been in campgrounds in Missouri, Kentucky, and now Virginia, back in Maryland, I will say I'm kind of glad that we got them for the convenience that we don't always need to find that. Because I will say we've actually stayed at like 6 campgrounds, I think, and only one of them actually had a laundromat. And it was a pricier option because it was an actual RV resort with a gym, a pool, laundromat, shower services, all that good stuff. So I will say, yes, there are a lot of campgrounds with laundromats, but they also are probably on the pricier end. Where we're staying here is owned by a local church, And they do not have full hookups, but they do have bathroom and pool here, but they also don't have a laundromat. So for us, only being a couple of two, no kids, besides that one that doesn't need any laundry done, I would say it's convenient for us because Jasmine can throw her work clothes in here and get them ready for the next week. I can throw a couple things in here and we can do a decent load of laundry without, you obviously can't let your laundry basket fill all the way up to the top and expect to do all that laundry. You got to keep it reasonable. They are smaller capacity, but they run just like they do in your house, and they do a great job. It is a pretty big price point up front, but for us, the convenience was worth it. And honestly, we had the space for it. So on a lot of other campers we looked at, the hookups were actually in the bedroom closet. So you actually lose closet space in the bedroom where it's already very tight. And Jasmine has a lot of clothes, and I was only able to get my stuff in here and there. So losing bedroom closet space is probably not a good option for a lot of people. It wasn't for us, but luckily for us, we have this huge closet space in here that could be a food pantry or whatever else you need it for. We have all our food stored in here. Obviously it's huge, goes all the way to the top that Jasmine can't even reach. It's very deep. We have our entire coffee bar, if you want to call it, coffee bar, blender, all in here space wise. And then we have plenty of space down bottom for Tupperware, drinks, crock pot, all that kind of stuff. So honestly, for us, I don't know what we would even use this closet space for. It only had one, let me see if I can flip this around. It only had one shelf in here. It was actually mounted a lot lower, like right here. So to get this in here, we asked them at the dealership if they can move it up here to keep all of our laundry necessities and so on and so forth. Broom and Swiffer in there. So it just kind of works. Us personally, like I said, I'm just making these reviews based on our opinions. Obviously, if you have a big family or you need this closet space or something else, it's probably not very practical. So yeah, we do take advantage of going back home and doing laundry at my mom's house or her parents' house. We have been to a laundromat to do like the bedroom sheets and blankets and pillowcases, because obviously that stuff's not going to fit in here. So for us, it's a good balance and it's convenience, and we love it so far. All right, now let's head back outside. And I just want to take a second to talk about something that I don't 100% regret getting, but I would definitely admit if I were to do it all over again, I'd probably do it differently. And that is listen to the sales pitch about the cameras. You guys have all heard it. It's already wired up. We can just put them right in. And, I definitely fell for it a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Sorry to put Bubby back inside. So I definitely fell for it. Full disclosure, I was a little uneasy about towing a camper, a fifth wheel, anything this size. I had never done it before. I towed some trailers in the past, but nothing to this weight, size, something that you can't see around. I was a little uneasy about it. And for those of you that know, I just did purchase this truck to tow this camper, so I wasn't really comfortable with the truck yet. I wasn't really comfortable with towing a camper, so I got talked in the whole camera system. I was like, that is 100% something I need. And now, hindsight's 2020, it's not something you 100% need. Even if you're a noob and you're fresh at it, it does help in certain circumstances, especially if you're trying to park this thing by yourself. But I thought I was going to be using it out on the road, in parking lots, at the campground and everything like that. And honestly, mainly the whole thing that I don't think is worth it is these side cameras. So they link Bluetooth to the screen inside of my truck, so they're not actually wired in. They're just Bluetooth cameras. And I don't know how much extra those were because it all got factored into our price of buying the camper. Yeah, I got talked into that too. But basically, anything you can see out of these things, you can see very clearly in your side mirrors, your tow mirrors. I don't even have my tow mirrors flipped up. I just have them in regular, like flip down, and I can see everything perfectly fine. I thought I would use them a lot more. I really haven't. I will say the backup camera, the one in the back here, right up there, has come in handy. I'm not hating on that one because I don't always have Jasmine there to help me back into a spot. And it's nice just to be able to like see what's back there so I don't back into anybody or I back into the position correctly or whatever. Like I said, in this campground, we have a dump station over there. And sometimes I have to do that while Jasmine's at work. So it's nice just to be able to back into my spot, and I kind of have a reference point of where I should stop, or I've gone too far or not far enough. So real quick, I'll just show you the setup inside the truck. It's nothing fancy. My truck's a mess. It does have the business console in the Laramie package, which I like, because I could just sit this down here. I didn't want it up on my dash or on the window. They do have mounts for those, but I just didn't want all that blocking my view. I like it down here, out of the way, and I realize how much I don't even look at it when I have it running. So yeah, this is the bigger screen. I think this is like the 7-inch, and they have a 5-inch. If I were to do it all over again, I'd do the camera in the back, and I would do the smaller screen that I could tuck away somewhere nice and easy. This thing's a little overkill. I've noticed driving, I don't have any navigation on my radio, so when I use my phone for GPS, and then I have this going, also with my CTS monitor for my gauges, just a lot of monitors to look at, and it's a little overkill, I'm not gonna lie. And it plugs into your cigarette lighter, so there's an extra wire in there, and then you got your cell phone charger and all that kind of stuff. It's too much going on, honestly. So for me personally, I think it's a little overkill. I don't think you need the side cameras. You probably don't need the backup camera if you have somebody to help you pretty much all the time. So I'll just say, for my 2 cents, I probably wouldn't do the camera system again. That's it. Okay, next up, obviously we're talking RVs. You got to talk about the nasty stuff. So as you can see, we do have a sewer tube storage holder on the side of the camper. One thing that blows my mind is that you buy this camper for $50,000, $100,000, whatever you bought your thing for, and it doesn't come with a sewer tube. You have to purchase that separately, which blows my mind. So I cannot remember the brand that I do have stored in there, and that thing is a pain in the butt to cap and uncap because of how tight the hose squeezes in there. So I am not going to take that out. I can't remember. It's a gray hose. It was sold by our RV place, but I heard a lot of good things about the Rhino stuff. So as you can see, the orange, they're kind of more noticeable for the orange ends and the clear 90-degree elbow in there. And I have a little carton from Walmart that I put in there. So yeah, I like this hose. It's not that it's a better quality than that one. I just like the end cap where you can screw on and off. It has more ridges to make it easier to take off. I'm not going to pull that out. You can Google the Rhino sewer tube. I think it's 15 foot. So for the most part, we may do with the one that we had that was 15 foot, but we did stay somewhere else in Virginia that the sewer tube was almost to the road. So we did need an extra sewer tube to reach there. And then this is like the Sidewinder made by Camco to elevate your poop tube off the ground so it can flow directly to the chute or the hole in the ground, whatever you want to call it. Not super necessary all the time. Right now we're not at a full hookup site, that's why I'm not using these. And then the last campground we stayed at was kind of on an incline, so we didn't need them, but they're good to have, and it's good to have at least one extra poop tube. From everything I looked online, you never know what situation you can get into, so there's that. Next up, I'll just run through here since everything's kind of right here. We have the Power Watchdog Surge Protector, works great. We actually did have a neutral go out in our camper, and that kicked off, so it didn't damage anything. And we had a little incident where we had water spraying all over this thing, and it kept it very well protected and did not surge or mess up anything in the camper or trip any breakers. So we are, we like how this thing lights up. I can see this from our bedroom window, so I know if something's going wrong, I can just look out and see this turns red. I know it's kind of hard to see in the daylight, but this actually is a white light, and it'll turn red if you have an issue, which makes it easy to see. Going into the water side of things, we just have a RDF carbon RV water filter inline, bought from the RV dealer when we went there. And this is an inline water pressure regulator. Saw a lot of YouTube videos on the ones that you can manually adjust yourself versus these that are just inline and they're automatically set to like 40 or 50 psi. I had seen some issues with the manual adjustable one, and this one is fairly cheaper, so I tried this one out. I've seen people on YouTube complaining about either of them. I haven't had any issues so far, knock on wood. What I did have an issue is, a lot of people said to get yourself a Y splitter so you can still have your water hook up to your RV and you still have an external water source to wash the camper, wash vehicles, fill a water bucket up, fill the dog water bucket up, or something like that. So that is exactly what we did. And I went out and got like a, I thought it was a nice metal one. And then we actually had an issue. So if you can look in here, I don't know if you can see. Yeah. So that is your valve with the kind of seal around it, kind of like a metal seal. And then as you can see, this one is open and there is no metal seal around it. So let me close this real quick. So normally close would mean there's no water coming out, but as you can see, there's no seal there to stop it like there is on this one. So here is the metal seal kind of washer that goes around it. Apparently this thing puts out some pressure. We had some cold nights that got down pretty chilly. I don't know if that affected it, but basically this whole seal blew out while we were home. We were in here watching NFL football one day, and literally one of the neighbors was nice enough to come over. When they were coming back, they drove through here, saw that we had water spraying directly onto our power surge box. So I immediately ran out and cut the water off and was able to take the splitter off, and I'm either gonna have to look into a different one or maybe we just won't run a splitter for a little while. I'm not really sure. But that being said, everything works as it should. Just got to keep an eye out on your splitter. These campgrounds definitely put out a lot of water pressure, hence the water pressure regulator that you need so you don't blow the pipes in your camper, because that is some powerful stuff. So moving on. So now I want to take a second to talk about the biggest purchase other than purchasing the actual camper itself. So for those of you who know, fifth wheels have fifth wheel attachments. They're like, it's like a tractor trailer attachment with the fifth wheel plate in the back, and it hooks to a kingpin that's actually bolted to the frame of the RV. So for those of you that know, they don't really offer any like suspension or drivability, and you have to put a big contraption in the back of your truck. Just like on those tractor trailers with the fifth wheel plate, you've got to have kind of the same thing in the bed of your truck, and it's extremely heavy, bulky, and takes up bed space. If you don't really use your bed and all you're doing is towing your camper, then it's not necessarily a big deal. But for somebody like me, where we're living in this thing, when I unhook from this camper, I want 100% of my truck. I don't want to have to take something out so I can use the bed of my truck. Do I tow and move stuff all the time in my bed? No, not really. But the occasional times that I do, I don't want to have to take something out so I can put something else in, if you know what I'm saying. That's just too many steps, too many extra things that I have to do. I'm more of a lazy person. I just want to unhook from the trailer and be able to have my truck. So I'll show you guys real quick what we've got going on when I'm talking about this. This is the Reese Goosebox 16K. They also make a 20K for a bigger camper, probably like this one. It's triple axle. I don't know how much that thing weighs, but ours dry weight is just under 12,000 pounds. So the 16K is plenty. And you say, what does this offer of this thing? It just looks like a tongue hitch, just like the fifth wheel. Well, this is your actual frame plate that bolts to the frame on your camper, and then you unbolt your fifth wheel attachment and you bolt this thing on here. So this is a all-in-one system that has, let's see if I can give you guys a good angle, that has shocks built into it, and it actually has an airbag built into here that you have your nozzle over here. So it does offer a little bit of suspension give when you're going over those rough roads or back roads and stuff like that, vice versa. Again, I have zero experience with towing with a fifth wheel, so I can't comment or speculate on that, but there are plenty of videos online about how rough it can be and how jolty and hard it can be on the suspension of your truck when trying to drive over some bumpy roads or highways or whatever you want to call it. So I can only comment on this thing because I had the actual dealership install this for us and make sure it did not void their warranty, as well as the factory warranty on our Keystone fifth wheel. So if you guys do some research on this, like I had to, because when I went to the RV dealership, they had no idea what I was talking about. I had to actually send them a bunch of paperwork and videos and stuff on it, because this is the only brand and adapter, whatever you want to call it, that does not void your factory warranty. So there are some out there that you can purchase that do the same thing, but they're not recognized by Lippert. And for those of you out there that don't know what Lippert is, Lippert manufactures a lot of parts for a lot of RV companies, pretty much all of them. So they make like your steps, you can see a Lippert tag on there. They make your frame on your camper, and probably a bunch of other stuff that I don't really know. But anyway, if you go to their website, this Reese Goose box is the only thing that does not void your factory warranty. So don't let RV dealers tell you otherwise, because that's all they told me was, whatever I don't know what you're talking about, but whatever you're talking about probably voids the warranty, so we're not going to install it for you. And I said, okay, whatever. I know it doesn't, but I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. And they would try to peer pressure me and talk me into a different system that I didn't want. So there's a couple other options out there. There's a gooseneck adapter kit. Basically, that's what I call it, because you have to adapt the gooseneck ball in your bed to a different system and then put an adapter on the fifth wheel attachment as well. For those of you who know, I'm talking about the Anderson fifth wheel / gooseneck setup. It's a frame that mounts inside the bed of your truck to your gooseneck, and you have to bolt and torque the bolts in. And then you mount an adapter on your fifth wheel that attaches to a gooseneck ball that is actually like raises up to about here on your bed sides. It's just a lot of extra steps and a lot of extra stuff. I'll put some pictures in here of it. I'm not hating or bashing on it at all, but you guys can look into the system yourself, do the research. There are some fail pictures online of the system buckling, breaking, bending, moving, whatever you want to call it. They advertise that it only weighs like 40 pounds or something, 30 pounds. A kid can pick it up. But it still takes up room in your bed, and it's still something that you have to detach from your truck to get full use out of your bed. So just for me, do your own research. For me, it's not what I wanted at all. So the dealership had no clue what I was talking about. I had to send them all the information, all the pictures, videos, whatever. They finally agreed after talking to the owner, the salesman I was dealing with, the finance guy, the parts guy. I finally got them to agree to install it and not void any kind of warranty that they were trying to sell us with the camper. So all I gotta say is do your own research. If you believe in something and you really want it on your camper, because you're the one that's got to deal with this every day for the rest of your life, or whenever you travel and stuff like that, make sure you get what you want. Don't let them tell you what's better for you. You know, those guys, they deal with campers all the time, but once they sell you that thing, like, you're out the door and they don't care what happens to you after that. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting about dealerships here and just get back to the point. So as you can see, just a gooseneck ball on the bed. This thing, 10 out of 10. It is a little harder to hook up. I'll throw a little video in here about the differences of hooking up a gooseneck versus what you guys know it is hooking up a fifth wheel. You just have to unlatch it and back into it. It's a lot easier, but you can see it's not too bad. With that being said, that's just hooking up so we can go dump. So I didn't really do all the full hookup on it. I just make sure it's latched onto the ball so we can move the camper to go dump here at our campsite. Obviously, once we move it on the road, I have to hook up a few more stuff. I'll show you guys. This is the cable unlock system to unlock and lock it onto the gooseneck ball. This is your pin to keep it locked on there so it doesn't pop off. This is your trailer brake wire, obviously, and your safety chains. So fifth wheels don't usually come with safety chains, but you know, with a gooseneck, I think it's very important to have some kind of safety equipment to make sure it doesn't come off, or something happens with your gooseneck ball and that pulls out of your truck. You know, the more safety things and the more things that attach it to your vehicle so it doesn't get away from you going down the road, then I feel like that's the best thing. So for me personally, this gooseneck hitch is a million times better than having to deal with a gooseneck attachment in the back of the truck and having to lug around, move, or not being able to use the full part of my bed because I have that hitch system in there. So with that being said, that's just my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. if it works for you or doesn't work for you, if you like the simplicity of hooking up a fifth wheel, if you don't want to spend the extra money on an adapter, because it is a little pricey. But for me, you get the simplicity of a gooseneck ball in your bed. You get suspension upgrades with the airbag and the shocks built into the front tongue adapter. And for the price point, it's not that much different than any other gooseneck adapter that you look into. For my research, an Anderson is about $900 to $1,000, depending on where you order it from. This system is anywhere from like $1,400 to $1,600, I think. I don't know how more expensive the 20,000 pound one is, because we just purchased the 16,000. But for me personally, I think it's worth it. And I know that thing will be awesome for a lot of guys who have farms and they tow, you know, horse trailers or goosenecks and stuff like that. You don't have to have two different systems to pull your camper in versus your trailer anymore. You can disconnect from your camper and go hook up to your gooseneck trailer, gooseneck dump trailer, your horse trailer, whatever you need to, without having to remove your fifth wheel hitch. So again, guys, I'm just out here telling you what I think about it. Form your own opinions, do whatever you like. Just don't let it stop you from getting out and getting that camper. And don't be afraid to, you know, do your own research and find what fits best for you. All right, guys, getting down here to ground level with old Bubs here. But I want to show you guys the last thing that we just purchased and installed. Got a little install video for you guys here. It's pretty painless, pretty quick and simple. Well, as you guys can see, this side snapped in, that side did not. It's almost going in on its own. Oh, there it goes. Whew. Hopefully got that on video. The front's on. So yeah, all in all, not that bad. Now let's get the backs put on. All right, guys, well, now that you've checked out the little install video, yes, these are the Snappads. I don't know who sells them. They got a website, Snappads. Maybe I'll put like the website up here. I actually tried to order these when we bought our RV. They had a set in stock, but they actually weren't the right package because we have the deluxe version where we have the two 12-inch circles in the front, 4 10-inch octagon jack stands in the rear. So we had to special order this, and yeah, so for us it's just a better way to go. We don't have to store any lift blocks, any leveling blocks, any buckets, any bricks, stones, boards, whatever you want to call it. I could definitely see if you're going to leave your camper in a more permanent place where you don't have to move it quite frequently, yeah, just go to Home Depot, get some 4x4s or some concrete pavers or whatever else is a cheaper option. These are a little pricey. For the deluxe option, what we got, it was a little over $300. But for me personally, as many times I got to move this thing to go dump And when we're traveling around at different campgrounds and stuff, I don't have to store these at all. They literally go up and down, as you saw in the video, with the jack stand. So, you know, when I'm setting up by myself or even with Jasmine, it's not something where we have to go around and put something underneath the jack stands every single time. We literally can just unhook like we normally do, back into our spot, put our stands down, and we're good to go. But I've found with, you know, some wheel chocks and the proper level, your campsite being level, you don't really have too many issues with that. We've literally just had ours on the ground for the past 2 months. As you can see, this beautiful Keystone over here, also, they don't have anything underneath. I know if we ever go to somewhere with a little bit more terrain and it may be a little more out of level, I do understand that not all campsites are leveled completely flat, that we may have to get something to level out the system a little bit. But for right now, this is all we need. This will be perfect for us. So just want to throw those in there. It's something that we did some research on. I even went to Camping World to try to order it from them, and they didn't know what I was talking about. They didn't have it on their website. What they have is kind of the same thing, but they're something you have to put under the jack. They're just like a rubber plate pretty much, so you have to slide under and slide out when you're done. So for us, this doesn't give you much up and down like travel difference from your factory jacks just being on the ground, but it does give you a nice rubber insulator to keep it from, you know, moving on any kind of surface, and or if it's a slightly unlevel, it can kind of, you know, bend and move with the terrain a little bit better. It does have a hole in the bottom of them to get, you know, any water that collects in there should go out through the bottom, so your jack's not sitting in a pool of water and it's out of the weather, and hopefully it'll make it last longer. So obviously these are a new thing on the market, so we'll have to do a follow-up review maybe a couple years later, but for right now, that is the Snappads on. And I think that about covers it all. I don't know. So got a bunch of stuff on here. Well, guys, we're going to enjoy the rest of this beautiful day, and we're going to wrap up our little feature here of our product reviews and stuff that have gone on. I'm sure I forgot some stuff. I don't even remember everything we purchased for this thing, but just trying to go over as much as I can remember and give you guys an idea of if it's a waste of money or not. And yeah, I think that about covers it. Is there anything else you want to talk about? No? No? You good? All right, well, you heard it from Bubby. That's about all we're gonna cover. Tacos, turbos, and toothpicks. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like keeping up with us and you like this kind of stuff of just another YouTuber making product reviews and stupid videos that, oh my gosh, are exhausting. It's wearing him out. So I'm gonna cut it off. Hope you guys liked the video. I'll catch you on the next one.
Bye. Want to say bye? No? You want to say bye? You can wait till him. Wait, bye.